Hello friends, and welcome back to my crafty space. My name is Crystal, and in today's video, I'm going to be sharing an unboxing quickly of the September themed Stories by the Month kit from Ali Edwards for 2021. And then we're going to jump into a story planning session here where I'm just going to take this kit and deconstruct it and put it into smaller piles of product that I can use to tell very specific stories. So I'll take you through that process of how I go from a full complete kit to separating it out into different stories. My hope today is to try and tell somewhere between 4 and 5 stories and then to have a week of project life. So we'll see if we can get that accomplished. Before we jump into that, let's just talk really quick about what comes in this month's kit. So we'll start off with the 4x6 cards that came in this month's kit. So we have a repeated pattern that says "around here" on it, the marketing card with a quote that says "great things are done by a series of small things brought together." That's a Vincent van Gogh quote. A journaling card that says "taking a deep breath and moving forward." A kind of creamy brown tone, beige tone type of plaid print. And then "Hello September" with this apple pattern here up at the top. So those are the 4x6 cards. The 3x4s, we've got "September looks like this." Right now, life looks like this. Right now, life sounds like this. Right now, life tastes like this. That's a really fun way to use a repeated element there since there are 3 cards. Embracing the season for what it is with this really fall colored rainbow. Currently learning, kind of an allusion to school season. The only solution is love, which is a Dorothy Day quote there. And then this really pretty fall colored leaf pattern. So those are our 3x4 cards. For the textured element this time, we have these stitched titles that say "around here." There are 4 of them, and they are gray with a white stitching on top. The cardstock sticker sheet this time is a label set, which I'm always happy to get labels. And then we've got the chipboard, which has a bunch of banners. So a diagonal stripe pattern, rolling with the changes, love this story, a couple of hexagons, good stuff right here, finding joy in a new routine, some half circles with my story, September stories, this is hard, and that leaf pattern. We have 1, 2, 3, and this fun rainbowy type of diagonal stripe as well. This story, we have a coffee cup and a teacup, 3 of these asterisks, and then a set of quotation marks. Now, one thing I do want to mention about the chipboard sheet this time is I believe we are officially back to the old company or the previous manufacturer who used to make these, which means that they are all easily able to be punched out. So I'm very excited about that because I prefer to punch all of my chipboard out rather than keep them in the sheet. And I definitely like it when it's easier to do so. So just a heads up on that. All right, friends. Well, I'm going to go ahead and put you on fast forward and get to work planning out some stories to tell with this month's kit. So hang on tight and let's get to some story planning. To get started with story planning with this kit, the first thing I'm going to do is pull out my journaling cards to figure out what stories to tell. Now, full disclosure, before I got this kit in the mail, I did go through some of the digital products since this was last year's digital Stories by the Month kit. And I came up with an idea for creating a spread that I could turn in as a creative team assignment. So the products that I immediately pulled out right there, the 3 right now cards, the "around here" pattern, and the beige type of plaid pattern. I already had an idea in mind for all of those. Everything else I don't have any plans for yet, and that's what I'm going to work through here while we're finishing up the story planning process. So a couple things that I did. First, I set aside anything that had the word September on it, which I believe was the apple pattern says "Hello September." And then there is a beige type of card that says "September looks like this right now," or "September looks like this." And then just a couple other patterns and sentiments that I could add in to a Project Life spread, and that's where those products are going to go. And then I pulled out 2 other cards. One says taking a deep breath and moving forward. The other says currently learning. And I added those together because they have the same look to them and they use the same font. So I felt like those could potentially go pretty well together. The last 2 cards up at the top, one is the marketing card and the other one that says embracing life right now or something along those lines. I also felt like those went together with their colors and their sentiments, so I'm considering adding those as a story. Next, I took apart my entire chipboard sheet and tried to figure out where, which pieces would go together, ones that have the same type of shape to them. I usually like to cluster those together, or anything that helped to spark a story. Immediately, I pulled out the 2 quotation marks because I figured that can be a really fun story to use those to either stamp out some kind of quote or use it to create an entire page dedicated to quotes from someone in our family. I also have the number 1, number 2, number 3 circle chipboard pieces that I feel would be a great way to tell a story with 3 bullet points of journaling. And then I also like the half circle that says my story. And I like the way that it layers on top of the label that I cut out of of the label sheet. So I have those set aside for now as well. And then I definitely want to use the 4 around here fabric pieces to create some kind of repeated journaling, just a story about things that are happening around here. And I like the way that those could potentially pair with the 3 banner shapes, which I have an idea on how to use those. I just have to figure out if I want to do it in a 3x8 layout or if I want to stretch it out across a 6x8 and pull out some more chipboard pieces with those types of shapes, if I even have them in my stash. Once I have everything set aside the way I like it for now, I'm next going to grab over my planning sheets and set them in with the piles of products based on the sizing I want to use. So I love to mix up the size that I'm working in because it helps me feel a little bit more freedom. It helps me feel a little bit more creative and less confined to have the option to do lots of different sizes. So you'll see I'll have like a 3x8 and I'll have a 9x12 and I'll have a 6x12 and a 6x8 and just all different kinds of sizes because that's just how I love to work. So this is the idea that I came up with before this stuff ever came to my mailbox. What I want to do is to create an interactive pocket that goes inside of my 6x8 album that lives outside of a page protector and has some longer story cards that I can stick into it to talk about what life looks like, what life sounds like, and what life tastes like right now. So I'm going to use the around here pattern for the bottom section of the pocket. I will likely stitch that on, but I could also potentially use 1/8 inch score tape in order to stick the pocket on. So we'll see what I feel like when I go to make this. Then I want to deconstruct the right now cards and create maybe a 3x8 type of card where I can add some journaling and a photo, and then to still have the right now title at the top, and I can still have the stripe pattern at the bottom. And then for the background pattern of the pocket itself, I want to use the plaid pattern. So that one I think will be a really fun piece to put together, and it's definitely going to be the project I work on first. Next, I want to use these pieces right here. I'm going to put this inside of my son's, I believe, story album. We'll see here when I add my text on there because I can't remember if it goes in his. But essentially what I want to do is have a full page picture on the left side and a 3x8 section on the right side, which will likely go inside of a 3x8 page protector. Then I want to add those around here fabric pieces, evenly spaced on the 3x8, and then use the sections in between them to add some journaling about what life looks like around here right now. Then I'm going to take those banners and I'm either going to stitch with a machine some kind of twine at the top, or I may embroider stitch that, or I may just staple on some loose type of string, but something so that it looks like a banner that has been stretched out across the photo. I went into my chipboard pieces that I have in my stash and pulled out any more that I could find that had similar colors and a similar type of shape. And yes, this is going in Jonah's album. I don't know why I couldn't remember that. And I also pulled out 2 small triangles to finish off the edges of that banner. So I think that one's going to turn out really, really cute. For this next one, this is the layout that is inspired by the quotation marks, and what I thought would be a really fun story to capture for the month of August/September is my daughter's feelings, or the things that she remembers and talks about in regards to her first day of school. She is going into first grade this year, but it will be her first experience in a public school situation. Since I homeschooled her last year, this year she's going to go into the school. And what I thought would be fun is to have her go to school, and then when she comes home, to ask her questions about her day, about her teacher, about her friends, what they learned, all of that kind of stuff. And did she like school? What did she like about it? And to just jot down her answers and then use that to create my journaling for a spread all about her first day. And I'll probably pair it with a first day of school photo, and then use the labels to put some of the journaling in, and potentially use some stamping to create like a larger quote if there's one that's shorter, something like that. All right, so moving on, this one I am trying to come up with an idea of a story to tell using the number 1, number 2, number 3, and the my story. So this is going to be something probably personal journaling wise. I am going to create this in either a traveler's notebook or a pocket page notebook. My pocket page notebook album tends to be a little bit longer journaling, so this very likely will go in there. And I think I actually write PPN. So what I'm going to do is take this gold foiled paper. This I got from a Paper Person collection a while ago. I don't know if it's by Paper Person or if it's another company where it was added in as a bonus paper. I'll have to look and see if I can find it, but it might actually be an exclusive Paper Person pattern. But I like the way that it looks with the canvas and the gray tones and the, more muted tones of this kit. So I'm going to use a canvas heart that I have from an older story kit, pair that with a heart chipboard piece, and put that on top of a traveler's notebook sized portion of this paper just as a decorative piece. I am thinking I will print a photo on vellum to put inside of the pocket, and then on the right hand side I'll use those 1, 2, and 3 to add journaling onto my page. And just talk about, 3 things about right now, or, 3 feelings I have moving into fall, or, there's a whole slew of different things. And in fact, I think the chipboard said something about, finding time for peace and quiet. So it could even be like 3 ways that I am creating time for relaxation and quiet. Okay, so this next one, I originally had the rainbow card included with the quote card, and I really like the way that those pair together. They both have that orangey tone included in the colors of the cards themselves, but I started to think that I might want this to be a bit larger of a page, a 6 by 12, and I like the hexagon chipboard piece, which I was having trouble trying to fit that in when I also had the 3x4 card. So what I'm going to do is just put the 3x4 card somewhere else. I'm going to take a 6x12 canvas. Most likely I'll just print out some journaling directly on top of some textured white cardstock in that 6x8 sizing. And then I will add the quote card to the top, so a piece of that pattern paper at the bottom, and I may also put a small piece of it underneath the quote card. We'll see when I actually go to put this one together. And then I am going to add some staggered photos with journaling. And what I did for this one is I wrote myself some questions like, what are our current routines? That's what the quote's about, is, routines. What are our current routines, and what about our routines right now are bringing us joy? And that will be my jumping off point for how I journal, and then my journaling will dictate the photos that I will add in to help, to aid in telling my story. And a lot of times that's how these projects tend to come together, is I come up with the idea for my story prompt, I write out my journaling, and then I find the photos that will go with that story and help me tell it. For this one, I was originally thinking of creating a layout in a 6x8 album, just my regular old family story album. But I will ultimately decide that this is a layout that would be super great for my one little word journal, which is just it's like a larger traveler's notebook type of journal. And the story for this one is ironic because I am a self-proclaimed completionist. I have a hard time leaving projects unfinished and not feeling quote unquote caught up. So I have been not very good at keeping up with my one little word prompts this year. I have a bunch of catch up that I need to do, and I'm thinking I may try to do that this month if I can. But the quote for this says, taking a deep breath and moving forward. And then the quote around the rainbow says, embracing the season of life right now, and or something along those lines. And my word is embrace this year. And so I wanted to tell a story about how I am embracing the fact that I am not caught up and that I am not, I'm not where I'd like to be with this project, but also, that there's so many other things that I'm embracing right now, like, the unknown as we are working on selling and buying our house, and, the changes coming in the fall. So I just think that will be a great opportunity to add some journaling into my one little word journal about embracing the season. This last little grouping of products here I'm going to use for Project Life. So this is just me pulling it all out so you can see everything that I am going to have to choose when I work on my week of Project Life. And then I'm just going to set everything out so we can see all of those stories on the table. All right, friends, that completes my story planning using the September Stories by the Month kit from Allie Edwards. So for this one, I pulled out 6 different stories to tell in addition to 1 week of Project Life. So this product is going to stretch really far for me this month in helping me tell my stories. I am going to be back again today with a process video, the very first process video, using this collection of supplies, and I'm going to actually work on this one first. So this Right Now interactive outside of the pocket type of project, which I'm really looking forward to. I think that this will be really fun and a creative way to use some traditional pocket type of materials. So I hope to see you over at that video. If you enjoyed this process, I would love a thumbs up down below, and make sure to hit that subscribe button so you can see all of my future crafty content as well. Until next time, I hope that you have a wonderful rest of your day, and I will catch you in the next video. Bye, friends.